الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Surah Taha, verses 5 onwards. Last session, we made it to verse number 4. We finished with verse number 4, where in the Quran it says, تَنْزِيلًا مِمَّنْ خَلَقَ الْأَرْضَ وَالسَّمَاوَاتِ الْعُلَى. This Quran is a revelation from the one who created the heavens and earth. Now, from here on, the verses of this surah, for the next maybe 3 or 4 verses, they talk about and touch on a few of Allah's qualities and names. Before I get into that, just a quick reminder of something that we've talked about before as well, and that is that this is a Mekki surah, as we covered last session. And if it's a Mekki surah, usually in the Mekki surahs, this might not be a very general statement that you can make, but it is a statement that is true to a good extent. The Mekki surahs are going to focus on the basics. The Mekki surahs are going to focus on, for example, Tawheed. They're gonna focus on the qualities of God. They're gonna focus on Nubuwah, prophethood, Ma'ad, resurrection, Day of Judgment, these kinds of things. So if this is the case, then here also, if this is a Mekki surah, Surah Taha, if it is a Mekki surah, then it's going to be a surah where you will find certain things that are going to be mentioned regarding Allah and introducing Allah to people. From this verse on, for the next 3 or 4 or 5 verses, you'll have this idea where the Quran touches on, reveals some of the characteristics, some of the names and qualities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it says, Ar-Rahmanu ala al-arsh istawa. Okay, this God that is sending down the Quran, there are a few qualities that He has. Number one, this verse number 5, puts its finger on, they say, the Hakimiyyah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hakimiyyah, Him being the Hakim, the one whose order is binding, goes through, is carried out no matter what. When we look outside of us, and when we look outside of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what we find is that there are a lot of other beings out there that have a will, that want certain things, right? But do they always get what they want? No, things don't go always the way that they want. They are not the Hakim. The Hakim in the end is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who rules over, who can call shots, and so on. So it says, Ar-Rahman ala al-arsh istawa. The Rahman, yes, has settled on the throne. Ala al-arsh istawa, or settled on the throne. This is a metaphor. It's metaphorical. This verse, what it's doing, instead of just saying, hey people, Allah is the one who calls the shots, it uses a metaphor. Why? Well, for the same reason why we use metaphors, why we use expressions, why we exaggerate even sometimes, because we want to get a certain idea across. So what do? For example, a mother, a father will tell their son or daughter, I've told you 1,000,000 times, don't do this, don't do that. Have they actually said anything 1,000,000 times? Of course not. This exaggeration. Will anyone say, oh, you're lying? Why are you exaggerating? Well, the point is that I've said it so many times, it's as if I've said it 1,000,000 times. Point being, they're trying to get across is, the number of times it has been said is very high. Okay, so we want to get that idea across, we say 1,000,000 times. Metaphors, expressions, exaggeration, all these things are used for a purpose. Ar-Rahmanu عَلَى الْعَرْشِ اسْتَوَى. Who sits on a throne? Who settles on a throne? A king settles on a throne. What does a king do? A king, when he sits on the throne, yes, he makes orders, he calls shots. That's what a king does on the throne. As a matter of fact, this might be the case. I haven't looked it up. But in the past, kings, when they wanted to give those executive orders of theirs, they would probably wear their throne first, or excuse me, they wear their crown first, sit on their throne, maybe hold a special cane or something, I don't know, and then make an executive order. Yes, a formal, official executive order, right? So because that's the case, now sometimes he's sitting at the dinner table, he also might issue certain orders. But all in all, what's for sure is that is a place that you can issue orders if you're a king. When you're sitting on the throne and you have that crown on your head. Here, Allah uses this metaphor. It says, Ar-Rahmanu ala al-arsh istawa. The All-Merciful, the Rahman, sitting on the throne. Well, what is he doing on the throne? Well, he's calling shots. Does this mean that he actually has a throne? Of course not. The Shi'i school of thought and the Mu'tazili theological schools of thought, they don't believe that God actually has a throne somewhere. There might be some theological schools of thought that will believe that, yes, there is somewhat of a throne somewhere. But the Shi'i school of thought and the Mu'tazili school of thought probably will not believe in such a thing. Probably was for Mu'tazili. Yes? What's for sure is the Shi'i school of thought will not have such an idea of God, that there can be a throne out there somewhere that he's sitting on. Maybe that throne is very, very big. What is that throne made of? And so on and so forth. These are all questions that'll come up if a person believes that God can actually have a throne. But we don't believe God has a throne. Yes. God, what is meant here is that it's figurative speech. Allah is trying to say that I call the shots. It's as if I'm sitting on a throne. Okay. But there's something here, there's a point here also that needs to be made. Usually when these kings are sitting on their thrones, calling shots, usually they probably aren't even smiling when they're doing that, right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is he like that or not? Is he issuing commands with a frown on his face, or is he dead serious? Well, whatever it is, the verse says, Ar-Rahmanu ala al-arsh istawa, that the All-Merciful is settled on the throne, is sitting on the throne. In other words, if he is the one who calls the shots, when he does call those shots, remember, he is the Rahman when he's calling the shots. That means that in the end, whatever shots he calls, even if he decides that a people are to be punished, it is still out of his rahmah. Now, why is punishment a form of God's rahmah is a different story. In a nutshell, even that contributes to their purification, or that puts an end to them even getting worse and worse. Whatever it is, whatever the explanation you want to have is, this verse is making it clear that it is, if any orders are coming from that quote unquote throne, from that position of hakimiyyah, they are originating from a source of mercy and rahmah. Ar-Rahmanu ala al-arsh istawa. This is crazy because it doesn't say Ar-Rahimu ala al-arsh istawa. It says Ar-Rahmanu ala al-arsh istawa. And there's a difference between the Rahman and the Rahim. You've probably heard the difference. Rahim, usually what is said is this, is that Rahim is the one who has mercy towards a certain group of people. That special mercy that Allah has towards the believers. But Rahman is that mercy which encompasses all beings. Yes, encompasses all creatures. Whether you are Muslim or not, whatever it is, it encompasses you as well. The fact that a tree, when you plant that seed, it slowly grows into the tree. That's the Rahmaniyah of God at work, we can say. If, for example, a kafir, a non-believer, is going to be, I don't know, eating or drinking something, the fact that they become full, the fact that their thirst is quenched, the fact that they grow as a result of the nourishment that they're taking in, all of that is the Rahmaniyah of Allah at work. Yes? The whole universe and the cause and effect that's involved and everything working so well and fine-tuned, the Rahmaniyah of Allah. The Rahmaniyah encompasses everything. The Rahimiyah, God being Rahim, yes, it is dedicated to a certain group of people. And it usually will have to do with their guidance and their akhirah and things like that. So here, the Quran says, Ar-Rahmanu ala al-arsh istawa. The Rahman sat on the throne, meaning that he is going to be speaking from a point of mercy towards everything when he's calling shots. That's beautiful. له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وما بينهما وما تحت الثرى. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that first, okay, so we put behind us that first quality, which is the hakimiyyah. What else does he have? له ما في السماوات. To him belongs what is in the heavens and what is in the earth and whatever is between the two and whatever is under and lying under the thara. So there are three points we need to talk about here. One point is, I have to remind us what we covered in our last session. What did I say about when the verse said, تَنْزِيلًا مِمَّنْ خَلَقَ الْأَرْضَ وَالسَّمَاوَاتِ الْعُلَى, verse number 4. Over there, what we had was this, that the verse means Allah, the Creator, and this revelation is coming down from the Creator of the heavens, the high heavens, and earth. The question there was, why didn't Allah say the Creator of the high heavens, the earth, and everything between them? And there was an answer that was given. Yes, that was that because it has to do with where the origin of this revelation is coming from and what the destination of the revelation is coming from, there was no need to make mention of whatever's in between. And if you remember, I said in our last session that we will have a similar verse coming up, and this is it, verse number 6. In verse number 6, it mentions everything. The heavens, not just the high heavens, which was the origin of revelation. No, all heavens. And the earth, whatever's in between them, all lahu, they all belong to him. Yes? And even more than that, وَمَا تَحْتَ الثَّرَى. Someone might say, okay, the heavens, whatever's between the heavens and the earth itself, all belong to Allah. What about that which is under the earth? Well, وَمَا تَحْتَ الثَّرَى mentions that point. Thara, yes, when you look into these tafasir, they'll explain that thara refers to those lower layers of the earth. So the lower you go, that'll be thara. Whatever's beneath that even. Okay? Whatever is beneath the thara, which are the most the moist levels of soil deeper in the earth, it says even under that, whatever's under that. In other words, everything. Right? When you see this wording in the Quran, that means everything. Very simple. Okay, so everything belongs to him. This is referred to as the Malikiyya of Allah. The fact that Allah is the owner of everything. The ownership of everything is his and belongs to him. This is referred to as Malikiyya. Maliki Yawmiddin. Malik al-Mulk, the Quran has. The owner of all sovereignty. Yes? The owner of all ownership, let's say, even. We have this verse in the Quran. Malik al-Mulk. All right. So this also is the second quality, one of the second of many qualities of God. It's the fact that everything belongs to him. So if everything belongs to him, he's the one who can make decisions for it. He's the one who can call shots for him. As a matter of fact, one might say that this verse is the reason for the previous verse. The previous verse said Allah sitting on the throne, He's calling the shots. He's the one who has that autonomy and authority to call shots. Why? Why? Who can decide for other things? When those other things belong to somebody, that's when you can decide for them. Yes, if I have a phone, I'm the one who decides what I do with the phone. Others can't decide. I'm the one who calls the shots, right? For whatever I own. And that's why when others, they compromise that, they breach those boundaries, yes, they get in trouble. Yes, we have laws set. Anything that belongs to me, others cannot touch, cannot call shots for. The only time you can call shots for anything is when it belongs to you. So if God is the one who sits on the throne, meaning He's the one who calls shots, the reason is لَهُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا وَمَا تَحْتَ الثَّرَى. The reason for that is because everything belongs to Him. Yes? Everything belongs to Him. This happens a lot in our verses. You see, in the Arabic language, brothers and sisters, sometimes you will have a letter or a word that will link a verse to its preceding verse. Sometimes no, just the context implies such. In this case, it's just the context. It says God is the one who's calling shots, to Him belongs everything. In other words, He calls the shots because everything belongs to Him. So quality number 1, Hakimiyah. Quality number 2, Malikiyah. Quality number 3, verse number 7. وَإِن تَجْهَرْ بِالْقَوْلِ فَإِنَّهُ يَعْلَمُ السِّرَّ وَأَخْفَى. This is referred to, the quality that is speaking of, this verse is speaking of here, we will call it the alimiyah, or the ilm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The all-encompassing knowledge of Allah. The fact that Allah is the all-knowing. Alimiyah. All right. Isn't that awesome? Hakimiyah. Malikiyah. Alimiyah. What is the verse saying? What is the translation of the verse? It says, if you speak out loud, or Allah will know what you say, and also He will know that whisper, that secret that you have as well. But look at the wording of the verse. In tajhar bil qawl. If you come out and openly say something, it doesn't say Allah knows it. It says, if you say something out loud, okay, Allah knows that which you keep a secret. Meaning, of course He knows what you say out loud, letting you know that He even knows what is secretly said. Now, what this verse exactly is saying, sir means secret. Does secret here mean something that is secretly said, meaning whisper? What does it exactly mean? Yes? There might be a difference of opinion here. So, I want to see what the translation says. When it says, whether you speak loudly or in secret tones, He indeed knows the secret. That's what this translation says. Sometimes you tell somebody, look, if you speak out loud, I'll know it. If you whisper, I'll know it. Sometimes you make it nicer. This is what the Quran is doing here. It's making it nicer. It says, hey, if you speak out loud, FYI, Allah even knows that stuff that is secretly said. And as-sir doesn't mean secretly said. I'm just translating it like that. It means secrets or secret. That's what it means. So what is going on here? What's going on here is that which you say or even whisper, He knows, 1. And 2, that which you haven't said but is a secret, even He knows. I think this verse is much more profound than it may seem at first glance. And it all depends on how we translate the verse. You can either translate the verse like this, say, He knows what you say out loud, and He knows that which you don't say out loud and you whisper. That's one way of saying it. Or you can say, He knows whatever you say, yes, and bring out from your mouth, whether it's loud or it's a whisper. Because even when you whisper, brothers and sisters, there is a sound at the end of the day. If there's no sound at all, you're not even whispering. So وَإِن تَجْهَرْ بِالْقَوْلِ can mean that which you say out loud, or you even whisper, because you're saying it, it's coming out at the end of the day. فَإِنَّهُ يَعْلَمُ السِّرَّ. If you speak out loud or whisper, He knows your secrets. That means that which you have in your heart and you haven't even said, let alone what you've said in a whisper fashion or in a whispering fashion or out loud. Right? So Allah shoots 3 birds with 1 stone here. Or let's say 2 stones, excuse me. With 2 stones, He hits 3 birds. With the first stone, He hits both speaking out loud and whispering by saying, if you bring it out, what you say, if you say it out, if you say, bring out what you want to say. And with the second stone, He hits that which we don't even say, it's a secret. All right, but that's not the whole verse. That isn't the entire verse. It says, وَأَخْفَى. And even those things that are even more hidden than your secrets. Whoa, wait a minute here. Wait a minute here. What's going on? What's going on? I thought the most hidden thing that I have is a secret that I hold in my heart. Right? I know what I did 2 days ago. I don't want anyone to know. It's a secret. Someone told me certain things that I hold now as a secret. It's in my heart. I haven't said it anywhere. Allah knows. But what is more hidden than a secret? If Allah knows that which I say out loud, and knows that which I whisper, and knows that which I haven't even whispered, and is just in my heart, what else is there that's more hidden than that? That's where different scholars might say different things. One of those that I'll just share is this. Some have said what is meant that is more hidden, what is meant by that which is more hidden than a secret, is those thoughts that came to your mind maybe, who knows when, and you totally forgot, and they're not in your heart anymore even. Because when you have a secret, you have something in your heart that you know, but you just haven't expressed and shared with others yet. But if you forget a secret, right? Someone tells you a secret, 20 years later, you don't remember that secret, right? Can we even call it a secret anymore? No. You can't tell people, hey people, I have a secret. You don't even know what it is yourself. It's not a secret anymore. It is akhfa min as-sir. It is more hidden than even the secret, because the secret that you have in your heart is still accessible. But that which you have forgotten of secrets is not even a sir anymore. It's not a secret anymore. It is more hidden than that. In other words, this verse is saying all over it, it has plastered all over it the alimiyah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, the question is this: can we say that even this verse is a result of the previous verse? Can we say that? The answer, I personally think, yes. Lahu ma fis samawati wa ma fil ard. Verse number 6 does 2 things for us. I want you to try to pay attention to what I'm trying to get at here. Even those of you who might have studied this surah before. Yes, these are points that you won't find everywhere, in my opinion at least. I don't want to sound like there's anything special, but yeah, let's talk about this a little bit. Verse number 6 does 2 things for us, it seems, not just one thing, 2 things. Number 1, I already mentioned. It let us know why Allah has hakimiyah. It was the reason for verse number 5. Verse number 5 implied the hakimiyah of Allah. Why can Allah call shots? Because of verse number 6. Verse number 6 let us know everything belongs to Him. Since everything belongs to him, he's the one who calls the shots. He's the one who decides for those things, which is everything. Verse number 6 is also the reason for verse number 7. So it has its hand in number 5 and number 7. So verse number 6, I would say, is the pivotal verse in these 3-4 verses that we've had so far. What does it say? What am I trying to get at? What am I trying to get at here? It's verse number 7 was talking about the all-encompassing knowledge of God, right? Why does Allah have all-encompassing knowledge? Well, because everything belongs to him. The entire universe is his possession, is in his possession, belongs to him. That's why. But someone might ask a question here now. They might say, listen, just because you possess something doesn't mean that you have all-encompassing knowledge of that thing. So for example, I own this computer. It is a state-of-the-art, cutting-edge technology computer that I have right now. I have the new iPhone 15. We're at the iPhone 11 right now, right? I have the iPhone 15. Okay. I don't know, maybe 5 years from now, people might be watching or hearing this recording. and by then, the iPhone 15 is out. I don't know, whatever. I own this computer that is so sophisticated. Just because I own it, does that mean now I have all-encompassing knowledge of everything that's happening in it? Brothers and sisters, 98% of the people out there probably have the least information about how a computer works. The most they'll know is that there's a processor in there, that there is a hard drive in there, there's a graphics card in there, there's ports in there, and so on and so forth, a few motherboards in there. That's about it. They won't know more than that. So who says just because you are the owner of something, that means you have all-encompassing knowledge of it? That's the question. So once again, let's go back. Why does such a question even come up in the first place? Because we said verse number 6 is the reason for not only 5, but also the reason for 7. The fact that he possesses all things and everything is in his ownership is the reason why he has all-encompassing knowledge of everything as well. That's where the question came up. But if we own something, doesn't necessarily mean that we have all-encompassing knowledge of it. I own a computer, I don't know what's going on in it. And so the answer to that is this, brothers and sisters, that the ownership, that relationship between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his creation, that ownership relationship between those two is different than the ownership that we have in this world and in this universe between all the other things out there. If I own something, if this person owns that thing, these ownerships from a philosophical perspective, these are not real ownership. Real ownership, brothers and sisters, when I buy this tablet, when I buy this book, has anything changed before and after it? Nothing has changed. Did anything in this universe of creation take place when I buy something? Between me and the book that I buy, did something all of a sudden happen? No, nothing happened. These are all in Arabic. I don't know the English, but in Arabic they say these are all i'tibarat. These are just things that we have agreed on amongst ourselves that, okay, when you pay for the book now, quote unquote, belongs to you. You, quote unquote, own it. But philosophically speaking, no. That's not real ownership. Real ownership is only between the cause of causes and the effect, which is the creation. The wajibul wujud, they call it, and the mumkinul wujud. That is real ownership. And that is the only ownership philosophically. And when you have that form of ownership on something, you will also have knowledge of it completely as well. Why that is the case, I don't want to get into. I don't want to make things too philosophical here. But yes, the point I wanted to make, brothers and sisters, and as a matter of fact, this was not in my notes. It just hit me right now as I was delivering this talk. Verse number 6 implies Malikiyah. Malikiyah is real Malikiyah. It's Malikiyah Haqiqiyah. And when you have Malikiyah Haqiqiyah, then you will also have Hakimiyah. Then you will also have Alimiyah. And a lot of other qualities will come with it when it comes to that. If you have that Maliki relationship between you and your creation. Okay, so verse number 6, I want to say, is the reason for verse number 5 and also for verse number 7. Okay. Allahu la ilaha illahu lahul asma'ul husna. It's kind of like a conclusion from these 3 or 4 verses that we had so far. Yes, in regards to the qualities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He talked about how it's a revelation. This book is a revelation from the one who created the high heavens and the earth. It spoke about Hakimiyya, Malikiyya, Alimiyya, the qualities of God, and then he concludes with this, the Quran concludes with this, that Allah, okay, forget about the qualities. This is Allah we're talking about here. Allahu la ilaha illahu. There is no God but Him. Ilah in Arabic usually will be taken to mean ma'luh, which means one who is worthy of worship. All right, so let's just use the word Lord instead of it. Although Lord usually is used as an equivalent for Rabb. So I don't know. Let's just say God. Allahu, Allah, there is no God except Him. Lahul asma'ul husna. Well, these previous verses spoke about 3 or 4 qualities of God. But then verse number 8 just, sums it all up. It says, look, all the beautiful names belong to Him. Now here we have something to talk about. It didn't say lahu, for example, al-awsaf al-husna, for example, or something like that. All the good, or I don't know, I can't think of another word here. Lahu al-mafahim al-ulya, or al-amthal al-ulya, or al-amthal al-husna. It didn't say that. Or whatever word you want to use for quality in Arabic. I can't think of it right now, unfortunately. It said asma, the names. We just have to be careful here about one thing, that a name in and of itself has no value. A name has value because of that which it refers to. Yes? Or else name is something, the names of things are disposable. Yes, we use those names so that we can communicate with each other. If I say book, yes, the word book is one thing, but the actual book that I'm talking about is something else. These are 2 different things. Yes, the word book refers to an actual reality, an object that is in the real world, that is a book, which is really a cover with sheets in between and binding and all of that. So that's what a book is. The term book is just used disposably. Yes, it's used just for communication purposes, or else other than that, it doesn't really have any value. When the Quran says, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa lahul asma'ul husna, all the good names belong to Allah. That means when you're speaking about the Rahim, the Rahman, and all these things, yes, in these cases, these names, don't forget, these names are for one thing only. They are pointing to a reality. And that reality, in our case, is a quality that they are pointing to. Okay? That's what's really happening here. And so we have to be cognizant of that. Lahul asma'ul husna. He has good names. That's it. These names are good. Well, there's a lot of people out there who have good names too. No. The qualities are the real deal. Okay. And so when it says all good qualities belong to Him, It means that even if you find examples and manifestations of these qualities somewhere else, eventually they return to him. All right? That's what Lahul Asma'ul Husna means. To him belong all the good names, all the good names. Anything that you can refer to as a good quality, a good name belongs to him. Well, others have good names too, others have good qualities too. This thing is pretty, this thing is beautiful, this thing is powerful, this thing has knowledge and is knowledgeable. Yes, but independently, who has all of these? Him. If anyone else has it, it's just an emanation of that. It's an extension of what God possesses. All right. So this Surah Taha, began with the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, kind of made its way into how he's not supposed to go hard on himself, and that this Quran was not sent for him to go too hard on himself, and that this Quran comes from that Lord that is the creator of the highest heavens and the earth, and slowly it made its way into the qualities of God, and then introduced God a little bit and concluded on that by summing it all up with that line of everything, all good qualities are His. Then it wants to start something new. A new chapter in this surah, about 80 something verses, if I'm not mistaken, have to do with the story of Prophet Musa alayhi salam. وَهَلْ أَتَاكَ حَدِيثُ مُوسَى. O Prophet of Allah, sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, have you heard of the story of Musa alayhi salam? Have you heard that story? It's a rhetorical question, probably. Of course, the Prophet knows about Prophet Musa. Yes, but, or unless one says that this was the first time, maybe, in the Quran that the story of Musa is being mentioned. Not in the Quran, meaning in the page numbers, because Surah Taha speaks about Prophet Musa, but previous surahs have also mentioned Musa. Someone might say this is the first Mekki surah, maybe, that is speaking of Prophet Musa alayhi salam. In that case, okay, it might be a real question, but we can take it very easily as a rhetorical question. Why? What's it trying to get across? What it's trying to get across is that there's something important here. You don't ask somebody about something, hey, did you hear the news? About what? About how a mosquito was flying and it fell down and then it died. Like, so what? That's not news. You don't ask me, have you heard that before? Or have you heard of it? You ask people such a rhetorical question when there's something significant in what you're asking them about. Sometimes you even know that they haven't heard it, but you still ask that rhetorical question to get their attention. Hey, I'm about to say something very important, very significant, right? Did you hear who won the game last night? Well, I know he didn't. He was sleeping. Yeah, but you're getting them ready to let them know who's won that game. Yeah, and so on and so forth. وَهَلْ أَتَاكَ حَدِيثُ مُوسَى. There are some important points that we want to give you, O Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about Prophet Musa alayhi salam. And from here on, the story of Musa begins. I will leave that inshallah for next week. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.